Okay, so this is the picture I started the other day, and it is so dark. I sprayed it really heavily. And the reason it's important that it's so dark is so that I can make my sun be the brightest thing. And I did talk about redrawing it. I talked about redrawing, but the truth is I can't see it well enough to redraw it. So hang on just a second, because it's so dark. And it seems to be kind of dark in here too. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to start with the sun. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And I am just going to use some white right on there. Just like that. Okay, so, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to work on the sky right around the sun. Because I sprayed it now, everything is going to definitely be brighter. All my colors are going to appear brighter, even if I were to use the same ones. Okay, yeah, can't quite seem to get this unwrapped. All right. So I'm just going to put some yellow in there. And I did put all my pastels away last time, so I don't have out the colors I used before, which I decided for me is really a better way to go. I think I have too much tendency to just use what I used before, and I want to really try to do a better job and not just use what I was using. All right, so that I think is definitely part of that color, but that is too not bright enough. So I'm gonna try a little pink, and that doesn't seem to exactly do what I wanted either. So I just keep trying things, you know. I don't honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I guess I have some idea about what I'm doing, but I try not to just repeat myself or fall back on what I know. Oops, you're agreeing. Oh, I have my pastels turned the wrong way too. I always have my pastels facing the same way when I'm working, and it's just one less thing I have to think about. Okay, let's try you. More unwrapping. I would have sworn I had all these pieces already of some of these colors, but maybe they're so dirty I can't find them. Okay, I think that's a little better. I'm just going to try a different kind of yellow here. Well, maybe if I could get this a little lighter in that area, maybe I could use something else I have, like this same yellow now, to come back over. All right, so that is really just about as long as I should spend on that area before moving on, for better or worse. Oh God, but for worse, I just have to do one more thing. Okay, so let's see, I think I'm gonna go here next, and then to this thing, and then the clouds, that mountain, and then the clouds. I don't have a really clear reason why I might do that. Now drop one, of course. Just see, I fall out of my chair. Okay, so I don't exactly have a clear reason why I'm going to do this next. I just, I guess I just wanted to, I guess I thought maybe this would help me to figure out that color. So I'm just going to try it. That maybe doing the mountain would help me figure out the sky color. And really, I just love the colors in this photograph. And I wanted to see if I could get this feeling of the skim of light over everything. Yeah. So there's the colors things are, but also the colors that they are when they're when the light hits them. Okay, so I'd say, well, right away, that is way too blue. So that has, it's too cold a color for everything else in this picture. So I'm just going to come back over it with the purple. So not that I actually think this way when I'm painting, but I thought it might help you a little bit if I mentioned it. You know, the light is super yellow in this picture, super yellowy orange. And so the complements of yellow, the complement of yellow is purple. And yeah, so when I got that so blue, I felt like that lost the, it was just too cold. It seemed too cold for the overall picture. So we're just going to see how it goes. And just remember, you don't want to spend too much time in one place, because what you really have to do is compare and contrast things. And it's very hard to do that if you're just staying too long in one place. I hope I'm not sticking my big face in front of this. Okay. Okay, so I think that's still a little dark. It actually is lighter than the ones in front of it. When I'm squinting at it, I'm having to do quite a bit of squinting because the colors are pretty close together here. All right, so better or worse, kind of like that. I get so much and they'll do it some more. Okay. And as soon as I'm going to redraw when I get this all covered again, I just couldn't see it well enough to redraw it. So and here's some of that light on the trees, which maybe that was a mistake. Maybe I should have done the green on the trees first, but I don't know. So in landscape, there's just a ton of texture, and landscape is a really great place to study texture. Yeah, so I would say I'm kind of using a textural stroke right from the start. Well, at least right from now. Okay, so obviously I need more red back in there. And I'm just gonna try not to worry. You know, I'm always worried. I don't know why I even say I'm trying not to worry. It's just, I'm worried, okay? You know, I'm worried that I'm gonna, I guess, do something I can't fix. But honestly, worry is sort of stupid. I'm just talking to myself now. Because so what if I wreck it, as long as I learn something from it? That's all that really matters. And I mean something besides just learning that I'm never painting a sunset again. Yeah, I don't know, this has got to be darker than that row behind it. So I'm gonna try that. And this time, instead of the orange, I tried twice. Whoops, that's kind of that orange too. I want to find a red. And this is a small painting. I'll just remind you, this is a 6 by 12. All right, well, over here, these trees seem pretty blue, even though I just gave my anti-blue speech. And I don't really have this all drawn just exactly right. But what I am going to do is I'm not going to let any trees end lined up exactly with one of the lines of something behind it. I'm going to either have them come up higher, like I did here, and here I'm going to come up higher too, because it's very hard. It makes it much harder to try to get the feeling that this is behind this, if this just ends directly at that line. So one thing I always try to avoid, pretty much, I think always, is having things just touching or just kissing, is what my teacher used to say. All right, so do you think I made it better? I think I'll come up and work on the clouds now. I know I said I was going to do that earlier, but then I don't know, I got distracted. Well, this is really just all drawn terrible. And, you know, we've sort of discussed it. In a way, it doesn't matter because I'm never going to let anyone see this picture again, this photograph. But the thing that matters is, yeah, it'd be really great to draw well, you know, and drawing well comes from trying to draw well all the time, even if it doesn't matter. Okay, this is gray. I thought maybe, I thought maybe it would make kind of a bluish color without going clear to cold blue. And this is a gray too. And I've got to tell you, I'm kind of liking that. I think that's working. And when you work on a small painting, of course, I'm going to have to spray it more often. So I think as soon as I get it all covered, I'll stop the film and I'll spray it again. And then, yeah, I think that'll be better. Yeah, what color were you? Get away from me. That color. Okay. All right, so now I need something really dark up there. I don't know what you are. So you can't see it, but on my paper, I left a big, 4 inches of paper on the bottom. It's probably not a size I would ever use anyway, but if you leave some paper like that you think you're going to be able to use later, if you leave that on here when you're spraying it and everything, then that piece of paper becomes quite different than what you're used to from having fixative built up on it. So if you think you might use the scrap that's down here below, don't cut it off, I guess. But be sure you leave enough extra that in case you wish you had more room to add to it, you could. And I do have some room up here, so I'm just going to come up a little more with the sky, also to make sure that if I were to mat it and frame it, that my mat and frame would cover. And I'm going to bring these down and cover that up right now so that when I spray it, you'll be able to see the difference there. Okay, so I need to just keep working right down the page. Also, sometimes it's easy to get really too light because the whole thing has gotten so dark. So sometimes I find that, and that even my darks that I want to use are not really, well, they're not as dark as the dark looks when it's sprayed. So, and you saw that the first thing I did when I came back after spraying it was I worked on the lights. So that is very much how I think about what I'm doing. I'm going to bring up the lights. Okay, and it seems like maybe there's a little more variation in here. Actually, that's pretty much the darkest, the very darkest place. So let's see if I can find a really dark pastel. Nope. Nope. So I've got it as dark as I can right in here. So what that means is that they have to go the other way and lighten up a little tiny bit, lighten up the other part. So you sort of have that if you can't get something darker, then you have to go lighter, and which might mean I have to go a little lighter there, which I'm totally willing to do. And that might mean I need to go lighter there, which I think actually is true. And that did not do it. So I don't sit here and think for a long time, like, oh, I think I'll use this one. I just try it. And I hope you can see that that's what I'm doing, because, oh yeah, well, that wasn't it. So I just try something else. And then maybe, now this needs to be more yellow. Because I lightened all these things up, and I still think this needs to be a little lighter. So let's see what this will do. All right, I'm kind of feeling that. I think it is in fact darker over here, so I'm just going to leave. I'm going to leave that for the moment. Maybe actually I'll even put a little blue on it. Let's see how that goes. All right, so I can tell that, well, the road, you know, sometimes I just think dirt is like the hardest thing in the world to paint. Dirt and roads of all types. You see how different colors look when they're put on top of other things. So sometimes when people ask me why do you start with those underneath colors, well, it's because they'll just make the colors look different on top. And because I'm not smearing it and I'm not blending, then those colors kind of vibrate. And that's really my big interest in painting, is having sort of layers, almost like a woven quality rather than, you know, a flat surface. I want it to look like a painting, not a photograph. We're pretty influenced, I think, by photographs these days. So there's a tendency to think photographic is better in paintings, but photographs are photographs and paintings are paintings. That was pretty profound, I just want to say. And feel free, you can put me. All right, got that out of control. But and I know my drawing is so sloppy. It's just, it's really, it's always making this excuse, but I just don't have this figured out, a way to not be sort of so much at the side that I can super control my drawing. Okay, so well, that's really a big exaggeration. But maybe I'll just go with it, and then I'll spray it and see what has to happen next. And then in here is definitely a little bluer. And right in here is a little bluer. And there is this little business back there too. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just a little bit of drawing again, because things got so far away from me. And one thing I really noticed in the still life demonstration I did in the part 2 section, I feel like I didn't even change the drawing. I just went over the lines I already had. So the point of it is to not just restate. I mean, sometimes you might want to restate your lines because you've lost it. But the point also is to try to get it better. And I'm drawing this line in because I need to make a difference between the color here and the color there. And I'm having a hard time I'm having a hard time doing that. And so I'm hoping that doing this is going to help me. And yeah, this road, I just would love to show that there's this bump in the road. I just would love to be able to show that. So I'm just going to go for it again and see if I can make that happen. Okay, and this, I want this to, oh, and it comes in front here a little bit of the barn, a little, and I think it angles down a little bit. And you know what else I'm going to do is I'm going to come down a little further down here, which I know you can't see. I think I'm going to bring my grass and all down just a little bit, just to be sure I have enough. And I could, in a minute, I'll see if I can zoom out a little bit, show you that. Oh yeah, the shapes of the mountains. Okay, so I just really hate mountains. I hate everything, right? But one thing you can do is you can say, okay, here is the edge of the barn. So if I go straight up there, that's about where that little shape is. That little thing that sticks out. I especially hate mountains if you're trying to make them look like the specific mountain they are. As long as I'm just trying to make mountains. But one time I did this painting of mountains and I was in Stowe, so it was like really big mountains. But the thing that helped me more than anything was I had fence posts in the front and I was able to compare those fence posts to where the mountains actually went. Like I think because we know the mountains are so big, there's a little tendency to make them way too big. So if you had something set up in the foreground that you could compare your mountains to, I think that would be really helpful. And I don't exactly know what that something is. So you know what, I think maybe part of my problem is I've got a lot of this too tall. Maybe I could bring these down, these trees, and then I would have more room for this mountain situation. So you might not be able to see this very well yet, but I'm not sure what you can see. And I did not get the sky. Oh, look, the sun's up further. I wonder if I can fix that. So a pretty good trick, if you have something that you don't want where it is, a pretty good trick is to take really stiff, crappy old brush and just wipe it out like that. Okay, so I think the sun is up just a little higher. Just don't have enough space, but I've got other problems too, so we'll see. I'm just going to put it up just a little bit higher, so it's going to be right in there. And then my clouds are gonna. No, wait, is it? Well, I'm gonna start over here and see if that's where it belongs. Okay, so this cloud right here starts right at that point, and then it oops, so it ends there, ends up here. Oh yeah, sun needs to be over more. Oh, what did I do with that brush? I threw it somewhere. So on this paper, you want to use a brush. Sometimes on Canson paper, I've used a single edge razor blade and held it really perpendicular to the paper. And I've been able to do really major life altering surgery to my paintings with that. like, I don't even know why, but sometimes I had a teacher, and kind of a mannerism he had was to make heads too little and hands too big. So yeah, it took a long time to recover from that. But anyway, I would sometimes I've had to do things where I had to, move the hands up, make the head bigger. And you can do that with either the paintbrush, or if it's cans on paper, a single edge razor blade. So, I just don't think I can get that other little piece of shadow in there and cloud. And I'm not even sure I want to. So, okay, so I've redrawn it. Oh, look at that. Here's another interesting thing. I do not have this line of trees down far enough. So, by bringing it down, I was thinking, oh, I made it shorter, but now it doesn't look wide enough. So if I bring it down a little bit more, I think that will make it look better. That darkened it just a tiny bit. And I zoomed out a little bit so you'd have this further down part. Okay, so now I'm going to go right back and start with the sun. And put in a really strong yellow like I did to start with, and then cover that up with white. Almost always I work in the same order each time after I spray it. I just do, maybe because whatever I worked on first is now the least good thing compared to all the other work I did. I don't know, but I do tend to work in the same order. And after I spray it, I definitely have this plan that I'm going to bring up my lights. So since I usually start with the sky, I guess that could be why I have to go back to it. Yeah, what is up with this easel? Like, let's see, is that? All right. And I do have the colors out that I'm using. And honestly, it's more about, it just makes it so much easier to clean up if you haven't just thrown all your colors down on top of each other. So I am still trying to look for other colors that I think will work better than the colors I have. Wow, see, a lot of times I got to tell you, I come back after I spray it and I feel like I just make it worse. Like the first few things I do have made it worse. So if you feel that way, you're not alone. And I really love to get this sense of this really strong orange along here. So I'm just going to try drawing it in and see what happens. I sort of love it. I don't know if it's gonna. But you don't know till you try, so you might as well try everything that crosses your mind. At least that's what I do. And that was way too dark, so let's see. So better look and make sure I didn't just do some terrible damage. No, okay. Wow, still so dark. Okay. I'm just hoping it looks dark to me right here. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I don't know why my easel is doing that again. It seems like every time I go out and spray it, I come back and it starts making that clicking noise. I'm trying to hold it down. But. And I'm not even thinking, oh, is that my finished stroke? Am I done now? I'm just constantly asking myself, did I make it better or worse? Better or worse? And that's all I'm going for, is trying to make it better. Especially, I've noticed that if you go away from something like this, is all being done on the same time. But if you go away and you come back another day and you get ready to start again, it just really so often seems like things just get worse in the beginning. And sometimes I think it's a really good plan to start with something that of less consequence, so that you have a little chance to get warmed up. So maybe, you know, starting with sort of a background color or something. That I find my tendency is want to start with the kind of the hardest thing in the picture. So if like it was a portrait, I'd want to start right away with the eyeball. And yeah, that can be sort of a mistake. So it's just an idea. It's not exactly trying to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you some of the problems I've encountered. I wonder if I should put that in. Guess, you know, just try it. Maybe it would help that to look like that darker gray cloud is on top, maybe. It's a really light gray too. Sort of forgot I used grays in here before. I need more pink oranges. This color is, oh, you know what, that's kind of like that color. This color I just thought was so difficult over in this corner. I felt like when I looked at it, I didn't even really know what color it was. All right, I'm gonna use this, oh, that's the black. So I try to keep my black somewhere far away from my other colors. Like a good idea, I think, is keep it right next to your white, because then you can really see it and not accidentally use it. Okay, so a little orange in here. See, I've kind of done as much as I can do in there right now already. And definitely as the time goes on in the painting, I spend more time working in the same area. I don't move around as quickly, although right this minute I'm sort of wondering if maybe I should have. All right, let's just see. Get some more of that. Also, I just feel like hopefully you can maybe see that what happens here for me is I'm almost taking it back to like a really beginning stage. And that's because I just am still trying to make the colors better and the drawing better. And I'm not, well, I said I was worried all the time, but it seems pretty clear from looking at this that I'm not worried about wrecking it. So, and once you get to where you're worried about wrecking it, you probably should be done and do something else, because all right. All right, I don't even know what all right means, but so now see some of my colors are sort of starting to smear into my lighter colors, so that's not really good. So I can already tell that, you know, I would have to spray this again to finish it, because it's just not good enough yet. By which I mean, for me, it's just not, the colors aren't accurate enough yet. That's my main interest in painting, is the colors. It's fun, you know, that's what I like to do. And so a lot of times people ask me, why do you keep working on these things? They look really cool right in the beginning, but you know, that the fun for me is getting those colors. Like I could stop right away for sure, but I would have missed out on the fun. So cheerfully, don't mind wrecking things, because it's really by wrecking things that you learn more about your painting, about how to be a painter. So this is actually a Sennelier orange that happened to be in my box of predominantly Rembrandts because I don't have a very good Rembrandt orange. And I think this one must be Winsor Newton yellow, which, as I said before, they don't make anymore. But you know what? You can sometimes find these things on eBay if you know to look for them. So Winsor Newton pastels, I just thought they were fabulous. They can't be, for me, they couldn't be my only colors because they're too soft. But they have really good purples, good yellows, really good sky colors. And I was just so lucky. One of my previous students, she just wasn't using hers anymore and she gave them to me. But I had been looking on them from eBay. So when she called up and said that she had some I could have, it was like a miracle. And this is that Great American Orange. Sun is not making me happy. Oh, and yeah, okay, I need more sunny colors up in here too. Never get all too glowy. Okay, so now I'm just gonna try to move on. Well, maybe I'll just write down. And I think I am trying to move on, but I'm just going to move on right down below here. It's always easiest for me to compare things that are right next to each other. So like I do tend to work right down my painting. And the other thing is that the last time over, if this was the last time over, which I don't think it's going to be, but the last time over, I really try to work from the back to the front, so the things that are in the front are literally on top. And I know this is too blue. No, that's too dark. So that might work. Oh, shoot. Hi, Jim. Oh, yes, they were. And so is the table. I forgot all about the wood. Yeah, the table that goes with those chairs. But if we, yeah, so why don't we just take it next time? Oh, okay, I'm recording right now, so I'll say goodbye. All right, bye. All right, so just still trying to, looking back and forth between everything, seeing what the relationships are and trying to make it better. And sometimes I actually kind of outline things. Not quite as bad as that, but trying to outline things. I think this could be kind of a place I could have be in focus right back here. So I'm just going to take the lighter color and come right up along it like that. And then what I do is I don't blend it in, but I just sort of pull it up into the other color. Kind of see how I did that, I hope. So I keep my kind of outline going there, but I pulled it up, and I don't love these strokes. I just kind of did them when I, like one thing you can do is maybe make the texture in the sky not quite as strong, like especially in that flat part of the sky, so that all your other texture looks more textury. Let's see, I lost all my stuff that I said I loved along in there. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I lost my son again. Okay, I swear I am not working on the sky in just a second. I'm gonna be done with it. And that's not a good sound. That's the sound of the pastel kind of plowing through the paper, not. Okay, so kind of got the background going better, I think, hopefully. I'm not sure I covered it all. I do really try to cover the whole thing, so I want to just be sure it's all covered up here. I try to cover the whole thing each time before I spray it again. And as you can tell, I've accepted I'm going to have to spray this. Okay, so now I brought this down so I could bring this down further, the grass, just in case I wanted to. So there's a pretty good example of picking up something that turned out to be way too light. There's another good example. Oh, just I wonder, like, could I say, no, I can't say that. I wish I could, but I think I have to work on the trees again in here to get the shapes right and all that. But I'm just wondering, maybe then if I were to, which I know I'm going to spray it again, but maybe after it's sprayed, I can just drag those colors in over it. But I'm going to try it now, of course, because who can wait? I'll skim it over. I'm not pushing very hard. Yeah, dragging colors up everywhere. Okay, I lost my orange again. Do a little more, I think. So you want to be careful of that, of pulling the color up, the dark into the light. You want it more, yeah, pulling it off every time. So I'm just taking that dark color off there each time, and then I want the pink or the dark orange in here too. And I guess what I'm up to here is I'm trying to make my strokes follow the direction that the light is going. I just want to make a little more of a tree edge up there. Okay, and then back here, I think that needs to be a little lighter. Try to make that look a little bit tree too. I know I got this really too short, but I think I'm going to stick with that. Because I think I'd rather have more of that mountain in there than. And just, you know, trying to add a little light in there because I just can't seem to get, see if this, no, I don't think you're darker. You might be darker. Yeah, so this is, oh yeah, I don't know, but I wanted to get a set of purples and this was the one I thought was the best. So I'll try to look at the box a little bit later. All right, so now I've got two strong purple in there. I'm just going to come back over with this really super dark green. All righty. Yeah, maybe these two are too repetitive, but it's going to carry on here. Okay, so almost got it covered a third time. I'll try not to make those scrawny little strokes. I just don't think they look good. It's funny, a lot of people are concerned about making thin enough strokes, but honestly, I'm more concerned about making strokes that look too scrawny. Well, maybe I need some orange on my road too. I think it needs to be lighter here where I mentioned I was trying to make that look like it was a hump in the road. Certainly looks like a something in the road, but I'm not sure what. And I'm trying to keep my strokes going really horizontal and down in here and not here so much. I'm still maybe trying to make that light come down. I'm pretty tempted just to use a gray back here again. Just see what happens. It's not like I'm opposed to gray. I mean, you just need to use whatever you need to use. But on the other hand, I just want to be sure I don't start with gray. I want to always be looking for the color, a more specific color. So for me, I really can't just say, oh, I'm using green now. It's more like, well, let's cover that all up. It's more like I'm using yellowy green right now. I'm using a bluish orange, which might be a gray, I guess. All right, coming back to the dang road again. So I want these colors to feel like they're in the same light. So this just is wrong, I think. I don't know, it's just too much. It's like kind of eye grabbing and good, I just made it even more too much. It's too big. It's not in perspective. Yeah, it's not really getting better, is it? Okay, so. It's too cold, too cold, too cold, that little green business. thought maybe it was something I needed to help break up the field, but I'm feeling less confident about the whole thing. Maybe it just needs a little shadow coming off of it. Not loving that either. So you guys might think I like nitpick your paintings, but I really nitpick my paintings. So, and I don't leave anything. If I leave something that's wrong, it's because I didn't see it. So I have honestly taken things out of frames, which is really annoying. So my recommendation on that is just don't frame too soon. Like if you can avoid having to frame on the same day you finish something, which someday I know I can't. Some days I just have to frame them then. But also I think you have a lot less trouble with the dust coming off if you can wait and frame them after they've been in your portfolio a while. I can feel like it can be even a little more reckless now because I'm quite sure that I can't be finished in this go, but I'm gonna leave it in just a minute. As soon as I get it all covered, I'm gonna leave it and see if I want to finish work on it more. And if I do, I'll just record it, but maybe I won't talk. I'll just finish it because I do kind of like this painting. And a lot of times I don't care if I finish things or not because I'm not as fond of them, possibly. I'm gonna see about making this whole barn thing darker again. It seems too light. I was thinking maybe I needed to show more of a contrast, but now I'm thinking I want to keep it more dark, which means I probably need to use some sort of blue. Also, another thing I haven't talked about one bit is that I use different amounts of pressure when I'm painting. So if I just want to add a little bit of a color, then I don't press down as hard. And another thing is I a lot of times as I'm getting closer to the finish, I don't press down as hard because I'm trying to add colors, not, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna put some gray in there. I'm trying to add colors, not so much obliterate what was underneath. I'm like, do I even care that? Do I care? I don't know. Do I care if it's not drawn right? But I do want to put my grass in front so that it looks behind. And now I got that line on there, so I'd sort of like to get rid of that. And I'd like to do what I said, which was that I was going to make this a different color than the top. I think this one is more the color of the bottom section of the roof of the barn, so I'm going to do that too. I kind of wanted them to feel, nestled down in there, that maybe they wouldn't be the first thing you would notice. A lot of times, actually, architectural things, you can't help but look at them first because they're got straight lines and stuff, and they're not as, I don't know, they're more standoutish, maybe, I guess, than the trees and stuff. And then the question is, do I want to put any windows in? I'm just going to take a really dark gray. Nope, that didn't show up a bit. So, but that's good. It's better than. Okay, so maybe just do something like that. Same thing, I'm going to leave it for a few minutes. It didn't like totally offend me. So I'm going to leave it and just see if it gets to stay or not. It might not. Or maybe I need to go over it with a tiny bit of purple. And you might notice also I didn't really draw these with my charcoal. For one thing, they're really tiny. And I just didn't want to have to try to come back but now I'm going to do a really funny thing. I'm going to kind of trim them down. I'm going to use my charcoal to do that. And really, I think what my charcoal is doing here, it's not going down so much as it's wiping off some of those layers of colors I have. Okay, so I'm gonna call it quits because the truth is I just would like to keep plugging away here, but it's all too, here it seems like a place maybe I didn't actually get it covered. Way too blue. Okay. I am finished for now, but if I work more, I will record it.